Norway's sovereign wealth fund, the world's biggest, has excluded a Chinese company from its almost $1 trillion portfolio because of human rights violations, the Norwegian central bank said.
Here's a summary of the article.
Norway's sovereign wealth fund, the world's biggest, has excluded a Chinese company from its almost $1 trillion portfolio because of human rights violations, the Norwegian central bank said on Thursday. The Council on Ethics, which makes recommendations to Norway's central bank which runs the fund, cited as concerns the discrimination of female workers, health and safety risks at the factories, and restrictions on the right to form unions. The central bank concluded there existed an unacceptable risk that the company is responsible for serious or systematic human rights violations. According to the latest available data, the Norwegian fund held 1.01% of Texwinka at the end of 2017, worth $7.7 million. The fund, which has holdings in some 9,000 companies around the world as well as bonds and real estate, is governed by ethical guidelines laid down by Parliament. The central bank also announced Thursday that it was excluding the coal-based energy companies Evergy of the US and Washington H. Soul Pattinson of Australia. Fueled by Norway's state oil and gas revenue, the government pension fund Global is currently worth 8.4 trillion kroner.
This post received a score of 6,539, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I'd like to see more investment funds and nations taking this approach.
Believe it or not, ethical investing is big in the investment world. There are plenty of funds that exclude problematic countries, weapon manufacturers, tobacco industry, and #X200B. Others choose to do the opposite and invest, their reasoning being what better way to change something than be a stakeholder and change it from the inside?
But do they exclude under the radar terrible companies like Nestlé? A lot of the worst companies aren't in inherently objectionable industries.
Nope, they own 2.43% of it. Edit found the complete list.
Honestly, before companies like Nestlé seeing any serious repercussions from their actions, I would consider ethical investing as real as snake oil.
I agree. In practice, it's mostly buzzword bullshit meant to allow people to feel better without actually doing anything.
It's not buzzword bullshit, it usually just means that 0% of a fund's investments are in controversial industries like oil, coal, diamonds and tobacco. It would be difficult, nigh on impossible, to morally rate every company a fund is invested in.
While it's certainly difficult to rank companies, especially ones as large as the likes of Nestlé, establishing a record of systemic, structural, repeated ethical shortcomings would be entirely feasible.
You think it's feasible because you've never managed a fund before.
You know, people don't actually read the articles when they talk about Uyghur internment and general human rights in China. When a Norwegian wealth fund bans one Chinese company for a specific violation, what is that violation, you ask? Oh, and
obstructing the workers' rights to form unions is a tremendous human rights violation.
If that were the reason, they'd boycott a lot more companies and countries like Singapore.
Also Tesla. People give them slack for producing EVs, but they treat their workers disgustingly bad, even going so far as to cut back on safety standards because Musk doesn't like the color yellow. The guy is a megalomaniac and the workers are paying the price for it.
Lol, especially because Tesla is huge in Norway. I mean huge. They may have a majority of people there driving them at some point in the near future.
Okay, found a quick list of who they exclude and it's pretty short. Mostly mining, weapons, and tobacco companies. Also Walmart. You have to fuck up pretty bad to end up on this list. Notably, most major oil companies are not on the list.
It can't ban oil companies. This fund is heavily invested into Norway's oil and natural gas firms.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.